All right, welcome back. So I had to put this down. I had to take a tactical pause to let batteries charge on the SU. So I got the gyro stuff figured out, but then all the little things that connected to these little this little MPDX1 thing with Futaba stuff. So if you're not familiar, and I've done videos on them in the past, it allows you to take one channel and split it into 8. So that's how you can run a couple of these guys, and that's how you get all these, 32 channels. But they're really not like full channels, I would say, because you can put an external battery to it, or you can run off system power. But I don't think it's really designed to handle like mainstream servos and stuff. Like maybe something small, but these big jets and high voltage servos and stuff, I don't think it really gives you the full resolution. So it's great for little things like valves and actuators and things like that. But for some reason, it's not reading properly with the current setup. So the gear was going back and forth, causing valves to do weird stuff, and you kept seeing it going into fail safe and like losing signal for some reason. So I don't know. I'll figure it out. I've used them before, hasn't been an issue. But my batteries got a little too low, and even though the batteries are still got a good charge on them, if they go below a certain voltage, still a flat voltage, it's still safe to flat, but if it drops below that voltage while you're out flying, it's not going to do anything. But if it's at that certain voltage, when you go to power it up, it won't power up the receivers. So you have to, it's kind of a, built-in like, hey, stupid, charge your batteries, don't go fly. But it doesn't shut it off if it hits that voltage when you're flying, because it still gives you, it's still a little higher than you need to be. I think it's like 8.1 volts or some crap that it will not power up. So you kind of need fully charged batteries. Anyways, so while I'm letting that charge, I'll kind of talk about, it's not a rant, it's just throwing out some information. So as most of you know, I was doing the Finderbeam RC stuff and Zykoy turbines, and I've been doing that since like 19. Prior to that, I was doing BrainCube lights for a couple years, and then I picked up, the Zykoy stuff, which was originally Jetmonts. So when Gaspar was with Jetmonts, that's what I was doing. I was doing Jetmonts. So I was building that. Well, I guess Gaspar decided to do his own thing, and that's when he asked me and the Australian dealer to kind of come on this journey with him and do his own Zykoy turbines. So we're like, okay, great. So I assumed a few things, and you should never assume anything. So fast forward, started down the road, built the brand, launched it here, sold probably close to 900 motors since 2000, so August of 19. Thousands upon thousands, because my average, annual sales was like over 200,000. So I did okay with growing the business, but I kind of kept it at a level. I was like, well, we'll see how this goes. And the market here is kind of weird because, one, Gaspar sells to anybody that has a website or sends them an email, apparently. So he was always like, well, when I sell something, I don't ever want to see it again. And that included motors. And I'm like, and he always complained, well, you're treating it like a hobby. And I'm like, well, you kind of make it the only way you can treat it here, because you won't give me exclusive rights to Zykoy, which I assumed originally that's kind of where we went with that. But then I started seeing other people buying from the factory. Then his personal friends were buying motors and selling them to his other friends. And then we got another dealer now. So it kept going. So anyways, those were some assumptions I kind of took with the business. But I almost walked away a couple years ago when he sent an email that was way off base. So I corrected him on all that, and I kind of like, all right, well, I'll just keep going, because I had a lot of good customers. I have hundreds of customers, and that's the only reason why I stayed as long as I did, because after a point, I really wasn't making any money because I couldn't fix things. I worked on a lot of stuff and I still could fix things, but then when you kind of stopped telling me what the issues were and how to fix them, it was like, well, I got to send it back to you. Yeah, it only takes 2 weeks, maybe 3 weeks turnaround, but the customer bought it from me, so I can't charge him the shipping from me to the factory. So I was eating about $300 every shipment. So everybody's like, well, that's stupid. Yeah, it's stupid. But I held in there, and I almost brought in somebody to do turbine services, and I just kind of handle stuff because it had kind of gotten to that point where I was like, hey, this needs to be full time, or I need to walk away, because I had some government contracting companies I was selling to that if they got the contract, I mean, we're talking hundreds of motors that they would need, which Gaspar wasn't willing to, even consider that. So, and then some schools that I was selling to. So I was, trying to make money for him and myself, but he didn't want to do it. He wants to retire and hand the business off to his kid, which is a red flag for me too. So he's had to kind of expand a little bit just to kind of meet current demand. But one, it's just, I could have sold double what I could have sold or triple what I could have sold if I could have just got him here fast enough. So anyways, now to draw this out. So I recently have been chewing on this for a long time. And with what's going on in the world, the tariff crap, and just things being difficult in general, I decided to call it. And it was a lot of things. It was him, he's a great designer. I've never really met the guy in person. I've talked to him, all emails. I know he's a good guy, but I've never met him. And I think he's a great designer, and it's debatable because he's made millions and kind of been the pioneer, but I don't think he's all that great of a businessman. He's a great designer, but he's a horrible businessman because he's constantly chopping your feet out from under you and basically costing you money, and just doesn't even see that. And, I could have made this a full-time business years ago if he would have just given me exclusive rights to Zycoy. So everybody would come to me and life would have been great. But no, so I work a full-time job and I was doing the Zycoy. So that's another thing. Like I got this job that I currently have after COVID, when the airline thing, they called me back. I told them I wasn't interested to do the airline gig anymore. I had a job with PSA and things like that. And I was finished everything. I was starting NDOC. And then the week before I literally flew to Dayton, Ohio to start NDOC, COVID hit. They canceled all the classes, sent us home. Didn't tell anybody, send any emails. That kind of pissed me off. I had to find out from my friends. And then we sat there in limbo for months trying to figure out what's going on. And then the recruiter's like, just go find a job. And so that's what I did. And then 3-4 months later, they start trying to call you back. I'm like, no, I'm good, buddy. I'm making, good money, and I'm in my bed every night. So anyways, so I'd been working from home this whole time. The job was 100% from home. And up until they decided to get stupid and make all of us go back into places where we didn't have enough office space for, I was working from home, which allowed me to do my job and do this other job. And it really wasn't like I'm out here working on this when I'm supposed to be doing business stuff. No, I would do my business stuff, and I worked from 6:30 to 3. I could answer phones if need be, and I could ship stuff out, receive stuff. And then after I get done with that job, I'll come out here and I'm fixing motors. So that's what I did. But now that I'm stuck 8 hours a day, 5 days a week, sitting in a cubicle for no reason, I don't have as much time for this. So that's another part of it. But the biggest thing was my last shipment was an issue. And if you know anything about Zycoy or Spain and their customs, if the shit gets messed up there and things go crazy, Zycoy can't do squat. So lo and behold, all this crap happened with the politics and the tariffs and Mr. Wannabe Dictator causing issues. I had a shipment that got called up, and it was a pain in the butt to get done. And it was like, okay, I ain't playing this game, because if their motors come up missing, that's on me. So there's another red flag. So I was like, I'm done. That's kind of when I decided that I was like, all right, I just got to get these last few motors taken care of, and I'm done. So that's what I did. Got that motor in. I paid the last invoice. I sent Gaspar an email, thanks, but no thanks. I'm done. Have a good life. He didn't really care. So that also tells you something. So anyways, but that being said, I do have some stock, and some of it I've already basically zeroed out on the website because I'm going to keep it and use it for my own builds. But I do have some stuff, and I will be updating quantities on the website. The website's going to run, so if you want to order something, like the last thing I got in the last shipment with those new LGC 25s, the new metal box. It's kind of like an updated version of the LGC 15. I have some gear controllers, pretty short on the air valves now. I have tons of the electric brake valve or the electronic brake controllers. Some 20 LGC 22s, got a ton of air tanks, a ton of lights. That's kind of really the only thing I've got. Everything else is little stuff. Like I got actuators, and I can use those over time. The rest I can give to people. I've got a bunch of UATs and things like that that I can sell. You know, it's just I'm gonna leave all that stuff online, and as it gets to a point where it's like, all right, well, I'm gonna pull it. It'll slowly shrink down. But yeah, the biggest thing is the BrainCube lights. I bought a big batch of that stuff, and that was last fall. And this is kind of when things started kind of going downhill. So, but you know, I didn't have to. I could keep going at it. You know, I do make money on the stock items, but it was just unsure times, man. Canada, like everything I sell, it comes out of Canada, Spain, or the UK, and I'm just not going to play those games, you know, because the margins are zero, really. You know, there's a little bit of money, but it's just basically paying for, you know, fees and going to events, paying for tents and things like that, and a little bit of my own hobby, but can't make a living at it. You got to be like a full-blown hobby shop with everything this day and age to make any kind of money out of it. So anyways, I just want to kind of let people know that's what's going on. I have some turbine stuff here still. I've got pumps, hubs, cabling. You know, I got some parts still that I've had, you know, to fix simple things. Because that's what I was doing for the last year or 2 years, was fixing the simple shit here and sending the rest to him, because he wouldn't tell me what's going on. Like, and that was another issue that I don't really agree with the way he does things. Like, he kind of jumps before he crawls. A lot of times with motor releases, they're not ready. He announces it, and then there's people getting on pre-orders, and then like, well, all his friends are getting motors while my guys are having to wait. And I'm just like, that's crap, you know. And then you put something out, and then you do 4 different changes to the combustion chamber before you get something that's actually right. And I get it. There's always going to be changes over a time, but spend some time testing the crap before you shoot it out. I get it. He's got his method, and once he gets it reliable on his bench, he brands it and it goes. Well, you got to get it out and test it, you know, which is what happens. We end up becoming the testers, and then he takes all the data. He keeps kind of getting back in on the repairs. He's like, well, I need to change this, I need to change that, and he does it. And he eventually gets a really good engine, like the 45. The 45s were horrible. They were like bane of my existence for a while, but he got them squared away. And then it became a pump issue, and he wouldn't believe me on that. And he finally come back and said, oh, there's a pump issue. And then I told something about voltage issues with some of the bigger motors, and he's like, oh, there's not a problem. And then now there's a voltage problem because we got new you know, thicker cabling and wiring for the voltage drop. So, you know, I'm not an idiot, you know, and I'm just trying to help you, you know, help me provide a good service to people. And that was the biggest thing. Like, when I always said I'm only going to sell good products because I don't want that headache. So I use it, or I know it's quality, or I wouldn't sell it. And the other part of that was, if I couldn't provide a good, reliable service to people, I wasn't going to do it. So here we are. So I threw in the towel on it. There's other dealers. Go to them, you know, if you want to get motors from Zycoy and everything. As far as I know, there's not a service here in the U.S. for them. You know, I have balancers and stuff, and I'm going to keep that, and I'll just service my own stuff if I want. But, you know, it is what it is. So I got other things that I want to do in the future. And like I said, with the whole having to be stuck in an office every day, it just kind of makes it undoable. So, but anyways, long-winded video of just me talking about stuff, but waiting on batteries to charge. So I'm going to do another video on this, kind of showing you the radio programming. So assuming I think I've figured out what's going on with this thing, if I can fix it and get it programmed, I'll do another video today, because I want to try to get this done, because I'm not going to have next weekend. It's Easter weekend. I got a mother that's coming by, and you can't get anything done when the mom's home. So you guys have a good one. And again, I appreciate all the support I got from that was really what kept me going. I had a lot of good customers. There was a few that no matter what you do, you can't make happy, and they're usually that 1% that's all over the forums blasting whatever, and they never tell the full story. So anyways, but it was still a great experience, and I may down the road, once I'm like completely retired, I might get back into doing like a sales and stuff like that, promoting the hobby kind of thing. But for now, I'm just going to do my builds, and maybe build for people. I don't know, we'll see. But you guys take it easy, and don't forget to subscribe, tell a friend, give it a thumbs up, thumbs down if you hate me, whatever. Always comment. I love the comments. That's what makes these things fun. I like helping people, which is why I do the builds. And yeah, so you guys have a good one. Cheers.